Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Hit the Bids closing comments here on March 4th. Let's take a look at our charts. The equity markets saw more volatility today, continued downside across the indexes. Early morning sell-off pushed us down close to this key level on the Nasdaq. Still has a little bit of room to go on the Dow and the S&P. 42,000 was the line we discussed in yesterday's closing comments. 5720 on the S&P and 20,000 here on the Nasdaq. Came within 75 points of it today on that one, and bulls saw some pushback. If we take a look at our lower time frame charts, we saw a good back and forth, early morning sell-off, midday rally with a breakdown right before the close. Just continued volatility, wide ranges going both directions here. Typical action as we're seeing prices start to fail below these prior lows and get down below our averages. Wouldn't be surprised to see some support and an oversold bounce kind of come from down here in these levels, but we've got lots of news this week, and more volatility is most likely scenario. Could see wide swings both directions, but still in a very defensive mode here across the equity markets. Today in crude oil, we did see prices push lower and briefly probe the 67 mark, right down here testing these lows dating back to last fall. This is an area where we've seen lots of support prior, and wouldn't be surprised to see price balance out here and a slight pullback rally in this downtrend. Still think that the bears are going to keep pushing this thing lower in the big picture. If we see more downside below 67 tomorrow, the selling could accelerate, but this is going to be a tough line to break here at the moment, so wouldn't be surprised if we need a little pullback here to take another swing at that 67 before we get it to break. So bearish here, however, getting into extended territory, so at the supportive area. Next up, we have live cattle. Volatile day across the cattle markets. Early morning sell-off took out our prior day's low, retested that $1.90 mark again, just briefly got below it on the April contract before reversing and ended up closing $2.50 higher today. Quite the back and forth, pretty wild action that we're seeing down here below the averages on this April contract. As we go down the line, we did see June also recover and get back above this prior week's low, and the further we go out, the more we're seeing some of this support step in down here just below these prior lows on December. A good probe of the 50 and a recovery above it. We see these highs getting lined up here over the past 2 days in these wide ranges. Wouldn't be surprised to see more volatility as we trade inside today's range. But if we get some traction and good bids above these prior day highs, wouldn't be surprised to see a little upside here. It's a pretty messy picture at the moment, but on this April contract, we need to get back above $1.9640, which was our prior week high, before I get too comfortable on the long side. So maintaining a neutral bias here at the moment. Could see more volatility and sideways action. We'd like to see price tighten up and before really choosing a direction to go from here. Feeders, similar story. We had early morning sell-off followed by a late day recovery to close us near the highs. On the feeders, this is a pretty bullish look here as we saw support at the 50-day average and a close back above the 20. Like the fat cattle, if we get bids above these prior day highs, wouldn't be surprised to see the bulls get back to taking this market higher. However, just these fat cattle have a little bit of supply up here to work through, so could see a little bit more volatility and sideways action here while this market tries to figure out what it wants to do. But this recovery that we saw today with some of these feeders and everything closing back above the 20-day average, this is showing good support down the line from this prior couple weeks base that we built between February 4th and this breakout here coming on February 21st to the 24th over that weekend. So feeders have a little bit more of a bullish look to them compared to the fats, but these back month contracts look fairly constructive. Just need to see more action to come from here, but just be careful if we see April start trading back below $1.93 to $1.9250. And in the meantime, wait for one of these pivots to clear before we get any direction or confirmation of direction. Corn market saw continued downside today. Low put in right down around 442. More wide range days, big volume selling. We are seeing good back and forth here today, down in this range that we built leading into the end of the year before the breakout. This market is pretty beat down and extended to the downside, so a pullback is in order, should be coming soon. However, like the rest of these markets, we're just seeing lots of volatility and could see some choppy, whippy action here while this market tries to tighten up and find its footing. So that's all we got for today. Message across the board is just stay defensive and be careful. We've got lots of volatility and excitement in these markets at the moment, and don't get too committed to positions at the moment until these markets straighten up and find their footing. So thanks everyone. Have a good night.